Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, VSW Stunner. We're here with a super special VSW podcast. Not only are we talking about the 9th anniversary show of Limitless Wrestling, but we are bringing on the final boss of podcasting. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is this? Who is this? Well, let me show you. And then let me explain. A while back, I met a wonderful podcaster that was doing great things similar to what I was doing. He was working out in other parts, in other territories, even abroad. I was focused on YouTube. He was focused on Spotify and Apple and the sound waves of what a podcast is. We became, friends and started talking, and we started something new, something special that was going to be dedicated to the New England wrestling scene called the Nor'easter, and it's already out now. The storm has already started. So let me present to you folks the final boss of podcasting. Welcome,
Mr. Stoner. It's always a pleasure having such a legend in my presence. As you see my background, you and I have two things in common. We care about family, and we also care about independent wrestling. And Limitless Wrestling is one of the best promotion, if not the best promotion in the New England area. And that's, I just call it how I see it, not kissing ass.
Hands down, and it's not just like, being biased or being this. You can ask a lot of people. They will agree. It is right at the top. And they've worked themselves there. 9 years here, they're talking the anniversary. 9 years. But in that 9-year period, think of how much has been done. You've seen MJF, you've seen Casanova, Daniel Garcia, Big Beef, Anthony Green, all these superstars, all these matches, all this history in a very actually short period of time. I remember being amazed when it was like the 5-year anniversary, and I was just like, they've only been around for 5 years? Like, wow. Like, I would think they've been around for 20 years with how well and smooth everything runs and how professional everything looks. It looks like they've been in the game forever, But that's what makes it different, right? That clear-cut edge. It doesn't look, really like an indie show. It looks like almost like a Ring of Honor show.
And the one thing I will never forgive them for is they started in March 2019. I moved away from South Portland February 2019.
Ugh.
I know. It's just one of those fucking.
And that was right in the beginning of it all, where you could see all these guys, Ace Romero, everybody, right then and there. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't get into it until the end of 2019. I started watching it. I had, watched local shows first, which was Beyond, and then I started to see that people were wrestling out that way. So I got into the Beyond.
You're right about one thing, though. They seem like they've been in the game for 15, 20 years. Because when I heard about the 2019, it was just like, and I saw how well the matches were, the highlights. I was like, holy fuck, how come I didn't see this before? I mean, why was this underneath my radar? Because it looked so good, so crisp, like it's been there for years. I was just like, I missed it. But no, that was their birth. And that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I caught it through the secondary kind of because I was, I went locally here. I'm from Mass, so I was seeing local promotions, and then I started seeing advertising for Limitless, and people were like, you definitely got to check out that if you like Beyond and this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I started watching it, had tickets to a 2020 show, and then, the pandemic hit. I'm like,
of course.
And I was really bummed about that for a lot of reasons because I really wanted to see, Anthony Green versus Chris Statlander for the title, but also I wanted to get up there. And it wasn't just up there. I mean, everywhere wrestling was just dead. It was gone. But Limitless did something really awesome that a lot of other promotions did too, but I really fell in love with the road. And when they did the road, it really got me invested in the characters, the storylines, and it made, a weekly show, which wasn't, a 3-hour long, talking. It was like an hour running with like 3 or 4 great, spotlight matches and some little bit of vignettes of, what's going to happen in storyline stuff. You had a great feud with like Love Doug and Ava Everett. You had all this stuff taking place, and they did it in a really nice package. And they went like 3 seasons. And it really kept people alive, I think, during the pandemic. But it's all leading up to this event. Now, I know I was out there. You were watching it on TV. We talked about Vacation Land Cup and how amazing that it really was. That is a true spectacle in wrestling. I'm not even going to call it sports entertainment. I'm going to call it pro wrestling. It is the true spectacle with what took place.
What will be interesting in this card coming up is every time you have such a great card, and that Channing Tatum's AG match, that's what had to be, to my opinion, to that right now, is the best match of the year. It won't be recognized as the best match of the year in professional wrestling because Limitless is not like an AEW, WWE, but to a wrestling fan who watches independence, that's the best. That was the best match of the year. And every time
you gotta remember this.
You always have a fall off next card. It's like not as good. It's good, but not as good. So this card will be interesting to see if they can keep that momentum alive, or they have a little bit of fall. If they have a little bit of fall off, doesn't mean they suck. It's just that last card was so good.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Vacation. If you had to do, like big 4 pay-per-views or big 3 pay-per-views for a promotion, Vacation Land Cup and their anniversary show is like the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. The winner of that's going on to Vacation Land Cup, and it's going to happen. But it's not going to, and it is hard to kind of top 2 big events or to even keep the momentum going. But they do have a very stacked card, and it just keeps getting more and more. I mean, the latest match I saw was Tabernacle the Team versus Fresh Air. The IWTV titles on the line right off the bat. That's a cross thing. I haven't really seen the IWTV tag titles defended too many times in Limitless.
No, I mean I was surprised that Miracle Generation lost. I missed that totally.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That kind of flew under my radar. I don't know if I was just busy with like interviews or busy trying to edit stuff, but I somehow missed that they did lose those titles.
Usually, if you miss something, I catch it. If I miss something, you catch it. We both missed it.
And I'm still actually trying to find which show it happened on because I looked at the results and I'm like, okay, I didn't watch this show. I didn't watch this one. I watched that one. Like, and I'm reading, the results. And I'm like, I'm not seeing any title matches here. But this is going to be a great, tag match, I think, for Limitless. Limitless has, a rebuilding of tag division, I feel, ever since, MSP broke down. We kind of talked a little bit that with, the Big Cat. MSP was kind of their, home. And they're one of the best tag teams out there. When they kind of broke apart, I think tag team became a little scattered. But you also have still some really good teams out there. But they're rebuilding, they're rebranding. Everybody's kind of gearing back up, I think, in the tag division. But for a while, Limitless did. MSP versus Above the Rest was some of the best wrestling I ever seen. Another great tag team that comes in sometimes as a main event. I don't know if you've seen them, but Jay Lyons and Midas, they do these great tricks. Guy jumps through a hoop out the ring. They put on a show. But I think this match is going to be interesting. I don't know much, I'll be honest, about the 2 tag teams. They're kind of new on my scene of tag teams. I've been really kind of watching, again, just a lot of... somebody told me to watch the Shooter Boys. So I've been watching a lot of the Shooter Boys and seeing what they've been up to. Hard Work Heroes, I've been watching a lot of them too. But now I got some new tag teams on my list to watch, and that's Tabernacle the Team and Fresh Air. Like I said, I don't know who's going to win it, but the IWTV titles are on the line. Another great matchup that I think is really going to, has been telling a story, speaking of tag teams, speaking of MSP, speaking of all these people. It's the story of Aiden Agro. Here comes a guy from one of the number 1 tag teams on the scene. I'm not even talking about in like just Limitless, like on the scene. Because I've seen him in Jersey. I've seen MSP in mass. I've seen them in, everywhere. And, things weren't going so well in the very end of it all. Some hard losses, things didn't happen. And I think resentment started to build up, and Aggro was holding on to a lot. And maybe if they talked things out a little bit, maybe it would have went a different way. Maybe Aggro and Danger Kid could have worked out their differences, and MSP could have stayed. But it didn't happen. And Aggro did go on his own, and he's been very successful. He might have not have, got into the Vacation Land Cup or won it, but he got into the cup, but you know what I mean. He didn't win it, but he's still a dominant force in Limitless Wrestling, and he still has a lot to prove, though. Old friends like Ace Romero, another main favorite, main legend. He's gonna, he's kind of been almost, like I said, an ally of MSP. Things happen, he stands up, but he's also, a face to Limitless Wrestling. You start disrespecting Limitless Wrestling, and Ace Romero is going to be at your door. And believe me, you don't want that. He is a force to be reckoned with. He's someone that's been captivating me now for quite a while. And I remember even seeing him like in the inaugural AEW Battle Royal there at Double or Nothing. I was so pumped for that. I love seeing local guys when they start to get out or move on. AC's another one. He's been all over the country. He's been out of the country. He's been in Germany. He's making moves on the scene. Not to mention what he's done in other promotions signed. So I mean, he has a lot to bring, but Aggro to everybody is just an NPC, and he is him, and he's negating that there's other people and forgetting that there's other people that helped and even put Limitless on the map besides himself. And I think this is going to be a good fight. This is going to be a good main fight. You got two mainers. You got two very well put together pro wrestlers. I mean, their skills are on par. And I think it's just going to be a memorable fight. Again, I'm going to say Aggro probably has the upper hand in all of this just because he's got somebody, with him, Haru comes out with them, and that's the whole thing. When you got somebody outside, manager, friend, ally, it doesn't matter who, you are more apt to win. That's just the way it goes. But
I just want to apologize for my disappearance. Our house is being reappraised right now.
Appraised?
Reappraised.
Oh, nice.
They just knocked the doors. They're like, yeah, we got a notice a couple months ago that we'll be coming around between now and 6 years to reappraise your house. I'm here to do it right now. I'm just like doing a podcast recording. Great. Welcome. Yeah.
Well, maybe it adds value to the house. You got a podcast running out of it.
No, it's known as our taxes go up, but whatever.
Well, that too. I was just talking about, the Aggro versus Ace Romero match. Two mainers. Aggro telling his story. Again, we talked a little bit about that last night. How he took the solo route, and he got rid of Danger Kid, and he's been making a name for himself. But there's a dominant force in Maine, and that's Ace Romero. He's Sacco's favorite.
Ace Romero is limitless.
He is, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he was in the early days of Limitless. He's almost the gatekeeper. If you disrespect Limitless, he's going to be at you, and that's what I feel Aggro is kind of doing a little bit in the way he's been treating everybody. He thinks, like he said, he's the main person. Everybody else is an NPC, but there's a lot of people that help build Limitless to where it is today. From Randy Carver Jr. to all the wrestlers that started in the early shows.
I just want to say right now that if Ace Romero is listening to this, I just want to say, like, congratulations for your weight loss journey. He's been losing a lot of weight these days, and I just want to say that's inspirational. That's commendable, and just want to give my to him.
Yeah, and you can see it in the ring too. Like he's more dominant. He has more more speed and endurance. I think the pandemic was hard on everybody, but how you bounce back from it, how you get back into it, and he's one of those people that is very inspirational. This is gonna be a really good match, though. Like I said, two mainers going at it. You never really know. Like I said, it might be left to who's on the outside that's gonna help win the match. I'm just looking through this card again, see if any notices come in. I always do these, preview shows, and then one more thing will come out. Oh, okay,
It's never
yeah. So
easy.
no,
Things don't go as planned. Things
no,
don't never.
they don't. But then I
Easy.
remember I used to do them, and then like an hour after I dropped the show, another match would come out. So I just kind of just double check. But no, I still get the same card. Everything's still looking good. Speaking of, we were talking match of the year, and I'm gonna have to run for 1 sec. But you were talking about Anthony Green and Channing Thomas. Well, Anthony Green is gonna be coming back and fighting another person that's really putting his name out there and really doing a lot in the scene, and that's Aaron Rourke. I'll be right back, though. I have to just run.
Anthony Green, like he has all this experience. He has WWE experience. He went overseas to Japan and got experience from there. And I've heard from many different sources that if you're an American wrestler and you go to Japan, you never come back the same. You come back better, more disciplined. And from the match with Anthony Green had with St. Thomas last event, it showed that. It showed that Anthony Green did come back as a newer, better, stronger version of himself. Many times during that match, and people can catch this. I really want people, if you're a wrestling fan, just a wrestling fan, doesn't have to be from the New England area, but if you're a wrestling fan in general, go to IWD TV, check out that match of Vacation Lane Cup between those two, and you're gonna see that if you like AEW style of title matches and it's like spots where you think it was over, it's like it's over. 1, 2, and then the shoulders up, or something happens, and it gets the heart racing. Like Jesus Christ, it's not over yet. That match is for you. And I know that and personally, I wanted Anthony Green to win that match, and he did not. But still, you have to commend a match that is absolutely AEW main event 5-star quality that Limitless pulled off. And that's what separates Limitless Wrestling from the rest. Be able to give matches like that to the fans. Now, there we go. Right now, this upcoming event looks like a good card. I expect it to not be as fire as the last one, because when you have a card like that, you gotta have a drop off. You have a little bit of a drop off. It's not gonna be. You can't do banger after banger after banger like that. Maybe Limitless can, but after watching that match right there, makes me excited to be watching this next event. Made me go, you know what? I'm gonna make time. There's a lot of cards I watch this you get hype for. You're like, if I'm around, I'll watch it, but if I'm busy, I'm busy. I purposely told my family that Saturday day, gotta do a charity 5K, whatever. But that night, I'm watching this card.
Oh, most definitely. And I heard you said you're a fan of AG. I'm a big, he was one of the people that got me into indie wrestling. This is actually his ring jacket from Chaotic. You know, I like AG. I think he is one of the best wrestlers probably on the scene right now. And for many reasons, not just for his ability in the ring, but for his ever evolving ability. He's always learning and he's always doing something to bring the scene and elevate the scene. Granted, I did want Channing Thomas to win. I'm a huge Channing Thomas mark.
Yeah. Channing Thomas has a lot of the Lex Luger when he was with Harley Race.
Yeah.
The version. You see a lot of that in him, which is just kind of like scary. It's like that
you see a lot of things,
so good. It's like, where's MLW coming down, sweeping this guy up? Where's Impact or TNA?
Soon, and it's all gonna be soon. That's the thing. I feel it's all gonna be very soon for all these guys. We're not gonna see them locally for very long. I mean, even people like BRG, that he had a great match against Channing Thomas too for title versus title. Look at him; he's doing all sorts of things in MLW now. And it's like, okay, he's on to the next level. And he was another one that started small and just kept banging and going and harder and just keep pushing himself and getting himself out there. And that's why I think this is going to be a great match, though, for Aaron Rourke, because Aaron Rourke is one of those people that, he's another top cap student. If you look at the ratio of, the people from Creative Pro to who's on like AEW cards, it's like it's overwhelmingly high that they're producing top stars in the industry. Even people like Shook Crew and stuff, they're coming out strong out of there. Aaron Rourke, he is going to give Anthony Green, I feel, a good fight for his money. He's gotten a lot better. He's been training harder and learning different things too. AG is not the only one evolving. Everybody, I feel like, on the scene right now is really trying to evolve himself and get to the next level. And
I mentioned before when he stepped away, there's been numerous wrestlers, American wrestlers, when they do a Japan tour of some sort, they never come back the same. They always come back better.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, even look at people like Rip Bison and Perry Von Vicious. They come back, and their contract over, they go back again. They come back learning all new stuff, different styles, and they get better. And that's what these people, a lot of these people are international. Like even Ace Premier, he was in Germany not, years ago. He wrestled in WXW. He was also, again, I don't know, like I said, I mentioned earlier, but you stepped away, that he was in that inaugural battle royal for the AEW Double or Nothing. That first show, he was in that. Speaking of other big matches, though,
let's move to Anthony Green real fast. When WWE announced they were doing business with Noah over in Japan, we talked about it before. We were afraid that WWE was going to bring him back, ruin him, and toss him aside like they do with a lot of wrestlers. Shinsuke Nakamura being one of them. But Anthony Green, I don't know what's his deal with Noah right now, but it's damn good to see him being in Limitless Wrestling. Damn good to see that even though he lost to Shane Thomas, he's
still half of the Noah Tag Team Champions, and he will be going back to defend those titles. I don't know I do know that they were talking to people, WWE, to acquire them, but I don't know if they're just going to let him run independently. If it's going to use it as a farming ground for overseas talent to try to get that Japanese style into the WWE. I don't really know. But hopefully, it doesn't become something like Evolve where they just take everybody and try to put them to shows. I would like to see these individual promotions exist because I do like seeing stars go abroad and wrestle. But yes, he might have lost the title match, but he also is 2-time Limitless World Champion already. I said half of, the Noah Tag Team Champions currently, and, he has a whole list of other accolades that he has done.
How many matches have you seen that at the end you literally got up and you just applaud both guys because it was that good?
Maybe like on the indie scene, maybe like 5 or 6 matches, that have really moved me. I'm not saying now these go above and beyond what I would call a banger. Like these are like something that really moved me. Like for instance, the IWTV 100, Daniel Garcia versus Willie Uter. It was about 110 degrees in the H2O Center. These two have a 1 hour Iron Man match, and they give it, and everybody's sweating, dying. They're fighting. They're going. They're going. The match goes to a no contest, but they gave it their all. You could tell they were just like, once that bell rang and they could get outside and get some fresh air, they were relieved. But like that was a great match. That told a great story. That AG versus Channing Thomas had me on the edge of my chair.
Yeah.
I did honestly not know who was gonna win that. And I don't know who's gonna win this, the title match that he's gonna be in this month. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that too. But they're bringing in another guy that I first saw him in Limitless. I know he's from other wrestling promotions, but the show that after the pandemic was called Patience is Virtue, and they basically told us who was going to be there to some extent, but nobody, no card was mentioned. And so the show sold out too, by the way, without any matches being announced at all, just talent and people being back.
Shows how good of a promotion it really is. If you can sell
Really,
out without
it sold out without telling us anything, and it was full of surprises. And that night, Daniel Garcia was still the reigning champion. He had to defend somebody, and they brought in Jake something, and I was like, "Damn, this guy is good." He's big. He has his whole thing. And they gave a great match, but Danny Garcia ended up making him tap. Well, they're bringing, he's been back multiple times since then, but he's bringing him back again. And this time they're putting him up against Dijak.
there's one I want to make one correction. Because not like other podcasters, if we make a mistake, we're willing to fess up to it. Women was starting in 2015. It was 2019 is when people start talking about them because that's when they introduced the World Championship.
Yeah,
2015 was the first.
they ran longer, but they didn't introduce the championship. Originally, they didn't want titles, and they wanted to just do things, and they were doing all these different shows. And then they started kind of, I think restructured a little bit, put that title up. And that's when people, I think, again, started to take notice more.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always, like you said, 2015, 16, 17, even 18, people in Maine knew about it. But I don't think the rest of the wrestling world knew how great it was.
Yeah.
For a while, it was a nice little secret out there. Like I said, when I went to that was the first show that I'm talking about with Jake something that I went in there and I was just, amazed. This is indie wrestling. This is how good indie wrestling can be. Then I don't see the difference between this and, TV wrestling, except, bigger venue and more money. And they even proved that at the Coliseum that it could be done. But I think Jake something versus Dijak is going to be a hell of a physical matchup. We first saw Dijak return at that Blitzkrieg show at the Luau. He showed up at the end. He was very dominant then. He had a good match with Alec Price. Alec getting the best of him, but this is going to be a little different. This is going to be, two TV stars, because Jake something has been on the TV. He's been in other promotions. It's going to be two guys, very physical fight. Dijak is kind of bigger than you think. He's taller than you think. Like, I remember seeing him on TV and go, okay, but then when you see him in person, it's like, oh, okay. and Jake something is too, though. And both of these, like I said, it's going to be a really physical match. But Dijak got a lot to prove. He coming back from the WWE is not easy. Okay, nobody wants to be let go. That's the reality. Nobody wants to be let go.
Also, he has to bounce back from his defeat from the last event.
And that too, and that's the thing. You get let go, and then you have, some losses under your belt. It's like, okay, I need to step it up here. But I will say this: if you want to talk about another match of the year possibility, Dijak versus AG at Beyond was another top match that had me on the edge of my seat. And again, those two right now are steering the reins right now and teaching everybody over at New England Pro Wrestling Academy. It's like those two as your trainers, you're set up for success.
There you are.
You're going to learn how to wrestle. You're going to learn how to do all of that very well. And because these people have been to the next stage and beyond even that, AG's over in Japan. He'll tell you, what does it take to get out of the stage? How should I market myself? That guy's going to teach you how to maneuver yourself. They're all going to teach different things. We also got Gabby Forza coming back versus Maggie Lee. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. Gabby Forza is another one you got to keep eyes on. She's top right now. Like, I think she's almost top female in the industry, or really close to it. And it's going to be, one of those things where I think eventually she's going to get signed sooner than later. I think she's going to be here for a little bit, because I remember talking to her when she first came in, or was first starting to make rounds, and she was like, "Oh, I want to work here. I want to work there. I want to do this." And I swear, like, not even 2 to 3 weeks later, she was doing everything she wanted to do. She was already hitting those marks. She was already on Wrestling Open. She already had matches with Masha Slamovich and on all these other high-end, female talent in the area and surrounding. And she's continuing to fight. Her match leading up to the Vacation Land Cup, very emotional there. She got into that battle royal and won it. She gave it her all in the Vacation Land Cup. She didn't come in, she wasn't the first eliminated. So, she almost had a chance there to be going to face Channing Thomas. And maybe next year she will. Maybe next year she will be that winner. I did actually pick her to win the whole thing. Maybe next year will be her time, because, it took Cody 2 years to win anything, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so sometimes you got to just be a little patient and keep doing, figure out what you did wrong, and then go back. But Gabby Forza, definitely someone to keep eyes on. Maggie Lee is great too, I have to say, but I'm gonna give it to my homie, the Nomi, because I'm just really super partial to it. I think she's one of the best. But they're gonna give a great matchup. They really are. It's gonna be, something to watch. Speaking about another female matchup, it's going to be another great matchup coming up. The returning Ashley Box versus Paris Van Dale. This is actually being sponsored by the VSW Podcast. We decided to sponsor this match. So I'm happy to see Ashley Box return. I remember the Sea Stars, great tag match. Her and her sister Dummy just kicking ass on the scene. Two females tag team, and they could fight guys, they could fight girls. It did not matter. They could kick your ass. And she took some time off, and then coming back, she's been pretty dominant and having some great matches. And I can't wait to really see what she can do. But Paris Van Dale's another one. I saw her coming up, through Chaotic, doing different things. I saw her in like NCW, all these other promotions, and now she's made it to the next step. She's put herself out there. She's gotten on to one of the grandest stages of all. That's Limitless. That takes hard work and dedication. We talk to a lot of guys in this industry, sometimes twice a day, right? And almost, if they're from this area, they want to get to Limitless. They say it right up. I want to get to Limitless someday. I want to get there someday. And these are the same for these kids, and they've made it there. So that's taking the hard work, putting it into fruition. It's not easy to do.
No, it's not easy to do. Wait, would you say when was the top wrestling promotion in the New England area?
In New England?
Yeah.
It's very close, because if you want to do number wise and view wise and look at stats, I would say you got to put Beyond and Limitless almost identical. Beyond's got a little bit more subscribers. They hit their benchmarks early, but they also ran for a little bit longer.
We had Northeast Wrestling that just did a deal with Prime Video.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing live events. It's like pre-recorded events, stuff like that, but they're doing more of this stuff is going to be put up in Prime.
Interesting. That'll be interesting to see.
But Limitless, I would have to say top 3.
Yeah, but have you ever been? Have you ever? Let me ask you this: have you ever seen footage from an NEW show?
I've been to a Northeast Wrestling show.
You've been there, but you've never seen footage. No one shares things because you're not allowed to have a camera. You're not allowed to have a phone. You're not allowed to take pictures. You're not
You're
allowed.
right. Good point about that because they were very big on no videos, no this, no that. I still did it. It's like fucking sue me. I fucking paid a ticket to get here. I sponsor this shit. Fuck it.
Yeah, no, and I think that always turned me off about it. It's like I can't take video. I'm paying for a front row seat. I can't take video. You're naming all these awesome stars, and I can't even get a small clip. And I'm like, that gives me WWE vibes when I go to one of their shows. And it says no filming of any kind, and this and that. It's like, really? You guys made all this money, and I can't take a clip. But
Good point.
no, I mean they're a good promotion, but again, something stands out about Limitless. Something stands out again about Beyond. They do things differently. They upping the bars. They're making and climbing, and it's continuous. Every year they grow. Both companies, I would say, they do bigger and better things. A couple of years ago, we got introduced to Wrestable. That was huge. We got Wrestling Open every Thursday night. Limitless just put on a hell of a show at the Coliseum, bringing in now I'm hearing numbers around the 1,500 mark. I think someone said. First it was around 12 or 13. Now they're saying they packed it full of almost 1,500. That's crazy for an indie show. That's an NXT house show.
That car was also in Lewiston, so it wasn't like in like New York City or Dallas, Texas, or Orlando, Florida. It was in Lewiston, which is I'm not saying that Lewiston's not small, but a number like that you don't see that coming from a Lewiston, Maine.
No. So I mean, he's putting wrestling back on the map, and he's been put it on the map, not even back on the map, but he just keeps making it grow, and that's what again, if anybody's watching, we
What happened?
and
Uh-oh.
how
You cut out a little bit.
yeah, I don't know, we had a glitch in the internet for a sec. Everybody just like
You got the
froze.
Starbuck virus.
I did. It's terrible. No, he was telling us how Maine is and how everybody's kind of runs differently, and it was interesting to see that because there's a lot of wrestling in Maine. There really is.
There is.
Let's see what else we got. Do we got any other matches, or is it just now? Get the Aaron Roy, get the Guy Fawkes, get the Box, Dijak, Ace Romero, and and then you're gonna have the mother of them all. And that's the thing. Big Boo for Desmond Cole. He has been on such a run, and I think he's made a real name for himself and really got a lot of steam in Limitless. I mean, this is a person that when I first saw him wrestle and come out to Limitless, and I heard his music and I see him come out, and I'm like, okay, who's this? And I watched the crowd reaction, and this whole crowd in this in Yarmouth is jumping up and down, bouncing around, and going boo fuck. Boo fun. Now this isn't pumped in chairs. This isn't CGI fans. These are real people, real emotions. This place was on fire.
And
And
what
I said,
promotions
Jesus,
do that to do such shady shit like that?
only TV promotions do that shit. You can't get away with it on the indie scene. But I'm telling you though, seeing Buva come out, it's an amazing. It changes the whole atmosphere. Um, And seeing that many people get it, I'm like, this guy's fire. And I reached out to him almost immediately after and saying, yeah, would you want to be interested? And he came on my show. He talked.
Mhm.
And he told me about his upbringing and all his wrestling and where he came from and what he wants to do and how the fans just latched on. And they have. And they've followed his story. And, he's been in storyline after storyline. He was in a triple threat for the title, before with JT Dunn as well. And I remember that telling him, like, I talked to Booth and I was quite honest with him. I said, I'm a big Channing Thomas fan. I do not know if you can beat Channing Thomas. I don't know if you can one-on-one. But I will say this, that I think that you deserve a one-on-one title shot. You definitely that. I do not believe that JT Dunn should be in that match. I believe that you should be able to fight Channing Thomas one-on-one for that title and be given that opportunity. Again, I'm not saying you can beat him or not. Channing Thomas is world class, but you deserve that. And it didn't happen right away. It wasn't given to him either. He had to earn that. He had to earn that by winning the Vacation Land Cup and getting that title shot. But he did get into Vacation Land Cup by beating JT Dunn. And, that was a big victory for him. And coming into this, winning that. And, that is the Royal Rumble. That is the Money in the Bank. That is the big one for Limitless, is the Vacation Income. That gives you a certified ticket to face the champion at the next, anniversary show. So now he gets that one-on-one, and all the momentum and steam is in his court. Again, I'm going to say it, Channing Thomas, one of the best, but being one of the best doesn't mean that you can't have an off day. I mean, look at that Patriots season. They had one of the best seasons until the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Eli Manning shut them down. Now, that can happen for many reasons. Things can happen. But also, the other person has a lot of momentum and steam. And sometimes that momentum and steam can outdo even your best wrestling because the fans are behind them. All that energy is behind them. It's almost like an extra push right to the front. And I'm getting, like I said, really big fight feel for this matchup because there's been a lot invested into it. I feel like almost years of storytelling been put into this match to get it to this point. And if Channing Thomas wins, he beats AG's record and becomes the longest reigning Limitless champion.
So there's a lot on the line for him.
There is. If he loses, well, then he's just, another Limitless champion. But he's not the longest reigning Limitless champion. So he has a little bit to prove himself too. And it's not just, win, lose, or draw for him. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this show. My issue with the 21st is that there's 3 wrestling shows in one night. You got Limitless, you got Proving Ground, and you got Focus Pro all running at the same night. Different cards, different wrestlers, different shows. I hate when the fans get put in that predicament. But I've many times I've went up to Maine. Other times I've done other stuff. This time I'm decided to do the Proving Ground show. I'm really also excited for that main event, which is going to be Stephen Luss versus Chase Del Monte. And if people don't know, Chase Del Monte very rarely leaves Chaotic Wrestling. So for him to do an appearance outside of that, it's pretty big. So that's, it's going to be something else to kind of watch. And that's what I'm saying, like, with the Nor'easter and everything, we wanted to dedicate more time to watching these New England promotions and getting to know what's going on the local scene rather than, grabbing, people from out of state or out of the country even. We save that for the other platforms and the other shows that we run and have running.
Yeah, it's more of our our thanks to all the people in the New England wrestling scene. We like to do shows that you can either watch on YouTube or some of these guys drive 5-6 hours away. I mean, what's going to keep you who's going to keep you company during those drives? Oh, you just listen to some podcasts, and why not our shows be one of them?
Yes, and that's the thing. I do know people that are driving, to Maine to go to this, or driving home, or they have these long drives, or they're going to be wrestling the next day, so they're on the road right after their match. And it is. I do hope that they find something refreshing that that when we talk and they can listen to it, and it can help them, whatever they want to do. If it makes them laugh, it makes them fucking mad, whatever it does, at least it does something. But hopefully, we're not making too many people mad. I don't think so. But we do give some insight. We do give a little bit of criticism sometimes here and there.
If they have a problem with us, we're professionals. We don't bite. shoot us a message. Say what's your problem is, and we'll talk it out. We're not gonna be like everyone else that's like, oh fuck you. You say my show is bad. We're adults. We can take constructive criticism.
But yeah, I mean, it happens, and you're gonna expect it. I mean, you're in a world where it's ever growing. Somebody's gonna be a better podcaster, and there's gonna be people that aren't as better podcasters. Like anything else, there's better wrestlers and people that aren't better wrestlers. And sometimes you got to take that, the criticism from the better wrestlers, so you can become better. But yeah, this is going to be a good card. I know you're going to be watching. I'm going to be tuning in between. And like I said, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And because again, this will kind of change the landscape of what Limitless is going to look like for the rest of the year, depending on who becomes champion. Because there is that kind of curse of, the former champion kind of leaving and getting signed somewhere. So if Channing Thomas does lose, then will he be leaving and getting signed somewhere? Will we be seeing him in another promotion on TV?
Maybe bittersweet.
Like I said, he already opened the door for Goldberg that time. That was pretty cool. How many people have opened Goldberg's door?
Hey guys, like MJF, he got shoved by Samoa Joe. I mean, being the little security guy or then on TV pays off more than school apparently, because you hear more about, oh, this guy was this security guard, he was this security guard here, not more of this guy came from this school, he worked hard. No, it's this security guy.
Hey, some of those security jobs at the ring, you got to take that serious. These wrestlers get out of control.
Henrik Warrior or something like that on TV years ago. Some shit like that. It's just crazy.
But I always like seeing when like Raw or SmackDown does come locally, because then you do see the guys that kind of get those extra spots in there. Because they don't do really enhancement talent anymore. You don't see that. But you do see, like I said, you'll get them coming in, doing paramedic, doing security, doing whatever.
Yeah, all the shit jobs. God bless you if you work in those positions, but it's.
But it's an acting job. It's an acting job.
Yeah, overall, it's an acting job. It's just some people think wrestling is real. So you see a paramedic, you think to yourself, "That's a paramedic."
Well, yeah, no. You got to realize most of the stuff that you see out there, to some point of wrestlers. I mean, even known wrestlers, like you said, have played, security guys and then gone on to become superstars. It's like, oh, so it's cool, kind of like almost like a cameo in an early, like, oh, I was in, Law and Order, and now I'm in this major picture.
Yeah,
same kind of thing. But again, can't wait for all this action to take place Saturday, September 21st. It's all kicking off 7 p.m. You can, get in at 6:30, I believe, if you're going to the show. There are still some tickets left. But if not, IWTV will be your friend, believe me. They will have all the action covered, and you'll have a great time. 9 years, 9 lives, man. 9 lives. I'm really proud of them, though. I have to say that. I'm really proud of Randy and the Limitless crew, the fans, everybody, because it's not easy to have a promotion. It's not easy to have a successful promotion, and it's very not easy to have a successful promotion that people talk about, look up to, and want to get to and strive for. And they've hit all these benchmarks for that.
I want to make a commitment right now. Right now, you and I commit. When it's 10 years, we go.
Well, we have to go to the 10-year anniversary.
10 years. Randy's got, for 10 years, he's going to do something big. If we know Randy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like 10 years. Randy, we're going to talk. Hook us up here. We hook you up. We hook you up. 10 years. We have a year to talk about it. We love you.
Definitely. And I would go out there. I would have went to this show. I just kind of, sometimes when there's 3 shows, I try to just spread out and just check out different things. Back in May, there was 3 shows
and all that stuff.
I went to Focus Pro. This time I'm going to Proving Ground, and other times, like I said, I've been went up right up to Maine and went to the Limitless show. I just, like I said, covering or talking about New England wrestling, I kind of try to spread myself out and check out different shows, check out different talent. But that doesn't mean that just because I'm not there, it's not good, or I'm like don't like the show or I don't like the promotion. It's just I can only be in one place at one time. But yeah, can't wait for all the action. Thank you. Thanks for coming on today. Always a pleasure with the final boss. And you can check us out in Nor'easter too. And also, tell them about, the network and all the stuff that provides for the wrestling, community as well.
Yeah, the network is it's the goal is for young wrestling fans that want to do podcasts, don't know where to start, don't know what to do, don't have the support because when you and I started, we didn't have that much support, and we're just kind of like paying it forward, and that's what they want us to know.
And right now we have a pretty decent lineup. You got VSW episodes out there. You got Killing the Business out there. You got Nor'easter out there. You got Dropping the Hammer with Warhammer out there. Wrestler from Texas talking about the Texas scene and stuff. So it's a nice variety, and even more people are talking about coming back on and signing up and doing something and fitting everybody in. Um, it's definitely something that's growing, and definitely something if you're into wrestling and also just good podcasting, something definitely to keep your eyes and ears on what's going on. Like I said, some of your shows have hit charts in foreign countries, Finland, South Korea, very prominent. It's probably even led to all that slam wrestling stuff coming at your door because your name gets mentioned over there. So it pays off. And
What I have to tell promotions around the area is Slam Wrestling from Finland, looking at probably two American marks and going, you know what, they have something. We're going to give them a chance, and they haven't regretted it since. American promotions, especially in the Northeast, if they can give us a chance, if they're on Thriller TV, they're not like on YouTube only. They're on Thriller TV. Why not give us a chance?
it's true. It's true. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff unfolding, a lot of stuff happening, and there's always something that takes place. We talked to some of the greatest stars in the industry, and that goes for all three shows. You can type in, KDB, VSW, or Nor'easter, and you'll see some great interviews with great pro wrestling. So I thank everybody for watching this. Definitely, like I said, check out the Limitless Wrestling 9 Live, September 21st, 2024, live from Yarmouth, Maine, and IWTV at 7 p.m. Set your timers now. Don't miss it. And as always, support indie wrestling. Versace Stoner out.